Hey, this is Justin with Style of Substance. In today's episode, I will share my quick thoughts on the Blair Witch Project.
This is my home.
Okay. Wow.
Which I am leaving the comforts of for the weekend to explore the Blair Witch.
The Blair Witch Project is a great film, but it's one that's very polarizing. Generally, viewers only take to loving it or hating it. Of course, I better identify with the former than the latter, but such mixed reactions are always interesting to me. Perhaps such hatred is a result of its dishonest marketing. I invite my viewers to look into the marketing surrounding this film for themselves, as it makes for a compelling read. As intriguing as the marketing is, I can understand why it would aid in souring one's experience, as rather than immersing oneself in the picture, the individual is instead focusing on the lack of authenticity promised. Casual moviegoers may feel frustrated at the notion that they are paying to be lied to through arguably gimmicky means. Thus, they respond to the overall film with disdain. Now, I do understand this to some extent, but I didn't see this film until at least 16 years after its initial release. So I was never tainted by the hype. In fact, with such negativity embodying the collective consciousness around this film, I was under the impression it would be a somewhat underrated found footage film at best. However, to my delight, I ended up viewing it as one of the greatest American films of its time, and one of the best of its genre in general. Marketing isn't the only reason why someone may dislike the Blair Witch Project, and I do try to understand where other people are coming from, even if I ultimately disagree with their opinions. Perhaps some people cannot connect to the film because it's so aesthetically disorientating. After all, it is a mundane, found footage horror film that uses shaky cam. But I think there's a lot more to it, to the point that some people's hatred seems a little short-sighted. Although I do believe that some films are just not for everybody, and the Blair Witch Project perhaps is one of them. Either way, it still holds significant textual weight and implicit commentary on the cinematic medium as well as on society. The horror is more psychological than it is anything else. There are many scenes of mundane activity, but I think that is what makes the terror all the more disturbing. It takes willingness for one to really embrace the approach to horror. If watched passively, the horrific themes may not resonate as well. I find how minimalistic it all is the most frightening. We are left to wonder and ask questions. It is the fear of the unknown that creeps into a willing viewer's thoughts. The characters in the film set out to make a documentary in the woods about a fabled witch. They approach the situation with hopeful naivety and carelessness. The kids are prepared to make the film, but are not prepared to survive. The film they make turns out to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. They ultimately get what they bargained for, but at great cost. I think many alleged horror commentaries fall short where the Blair Witch Project succeeds. It addresses a relationship between films and reality. In a brief exchange of dialogue, they refer to film as a filtered reality.
I see why you like this video camera so much.
You do?
It's not quite reality.
Reality says we gotta move.
No, but it's totally like a filtered reality, man. It's like you can pretend everything's not quite the way it is.
Yes, the Blair Witch Project is a work of fiction, but by capturing real people and nature, it is also documenting reality, even if it is a reality filtered by artificiality. This rings true with Heather. She keeps herself together by use of her camera. She filters her reality, her emotions, her worldview at the service of the film. Heather even admits this.
No, she's still making movies, man. That's my point.
Please stop.
This is my point here.
That's all I fucking have left, okay? Just please stop. Please.
In a way, without filtering her reality, she would lose sight of her own sanity. On the flip side, setting out to form this filtered reality is also what gets her and her friends into trouble.
I want to make movies, Heather. Isn't that what we're here to do?
Let's make some movies.
One aspect of this film that goes overlooked is its commentary on American society. Towards the beginning of the film, the kids are quick to point out the American flag at someone's house.
That's it, the American flag. That's Mary's house.
Once the kids become lost, Heather assures that because they live in America, they will not stay lost, as someone will surely come looking for them.
It's very hard to get lost in America these days, and it's even harder to stay lost, so we have that on our side.
The kids also began singing patriotic songs as a mean to cope with their larger issues.
Not possible. Not possible in this country.
Why is
Not
it not
possible.
possible?
Because this is America, and it's not possible. We've destroyed most of our natural resources. Let's just keep going.
America, God send your grace on thee!
In a way, clinging to their notion of American society, their home, is what keeps them going, even though America has actually let them down by not being there for them, as Heather assured. This patriotic, hopeful naivety becomes shattered as the events within the film unfold. They seek to return to the society they abandoned, that has also abandoned them. Why? Because it is their home, and that is what they know. Speaking of homes, I find the ending of the film fitting, albeit tragically ironic. This scene takes place in an abandoned house that appears to be used for rituals. I think this scene is a horrific subversion of what they had been pursuing all along. They wanted to find the witch. They may have got what they wished for. They wanted to get back home. Well, their journey ends in a home. The overall film is vague in its presentation, and I almost wonder if the witch even exists within the world of it. I began wondering while watching this film if the characters couldn't figure out how to read a map due to coming unprepared, or if the woods were magically changing under the guise of witchcraft. I wondered if the house appearing at the end was dark magic as well. These are just some of many questions and interpretations one may have upon viewing the Blair Witch Project. Essentially, I think the film is extremely dense. Many people act as if the quality of a horror film is dependent on how much it scares the viewer. However, I don't share that sentiment because I can't say that many films have legitimately scared me. The Blair Witch Project is a film that instead has tapped into my anxieties. After all, what can make an individual more anxious than being lost? Except maybe never being found. Or even worse, being found but it's too late.